So, after 36 years, Formula 1 came back to the Netherlands for the Dutch Grand Prix. Going to Zandvoort and seeing how much the drivers were enjoying the circuit was amazing. And even though the race didn't feature much overtaking, the atmosphere was made infinitely better by the fans. Watching Verstappen cross the line with a sea of orange in the grandstands literally gave me goosebumps. So without further ado, let's get into the winners and losers from the Dutch Grand Prix. Winner, Max Verstappen. Today was a very special day for the Dutch. The man they have religiously supported ever since he entered the sports delivered the country's first home win in F1 history. Max Verstappen drove incredibly well throughout the weekend. To completely block out all the hype heading into it and just focus on the job at hand really just goes to show how much he has matured. Verstappen took pole by 0.04 of a second and got a clean start heading into turn 1. From then on, he built up a solid gap between himself and Hamilton before the Brit dived into the pits on lap 20. Red Bull covered this by bringing Verstappen in just a lap after, but the gap had closed. Then Mercedes left Bottas out to hold him up, but he got past almost instantly. Once again, Max maintained a decent gap before Mercedes pulled the trigger again, but this time it was a bit too early and Hamilton came out in traffic. Red Bull covered it off again with the hard tyres, and from there, Max just aced it. This latest win puts him 3 points clear of Hamilton in the championship, and what a place to do it. The last couple of races before the summer break saw him suffer some bad luck, but now he seems to have regained control. The next race in Monza will no doubt be tougher, as Red Bull won't be the clear favourites. But with the way he's driving at the moment, there's a good chance he'll sweep the first triple header of the season. Winners, Ferrari. The start of the weekend for the prancing horse was very strong, as they finished P3 and 4 in FP1 and then won 2 in FP2. On Saturday morning, however, Sainz had a pretty hefty shunt at turn 3, which brought out the red flag in FP3. The team didn't have much time to repair the car before qualifying, but remarkably, they managed to get him out midway through Q1. In return, the Spaniard put the car in P6 behind his teammate in P5. Both drivers got a decent getaway and maintained their starting positions. From there, Leclerc seemed to have good pace, but Carlos struggled with tyre degradation and generally a lack of pace. This is something he emphasised in the post-race interviews that the team needs to analyse before Monza, so a repeat doesn't occur. Nevertheless, Ferrari overtook McLaren for third in the Constructors after Leclerc and Sainz crossed the line in 5th and 7th respectively. Hopefully, they can better their results next time out in Monza in front of the Tifosi. Losers, Aston Martin. Aston Martin looked as though they would be contenders for Q3 after ending final practice in 7th and 8th. Unfortunately though, Vettel got caught up in a messy situation between Mick Schumacher and Nikita Mazepin. This resulted in the German not making the checkered flag, meaning he was knocked out in Q1. Stroll got into Q2 but was eliminated after the red flag was brought out for Nicholas Latifi. In the race, Vettel tried something different with strategy by pitting early, but that didn't work as he came up behind Robert Kubica. He then tried to overtake the pole at turn 3, but ended up spinning and losing even more time. Stroll was basically stuck behind Russell throughout the entire race, and so couldn't make any inroads on the top 10. And at the end, Vettel went for a move on his teammates, but the Canadian defended late, forcing his teammate to take evasive action. Overall, it was a disappointing weekend for the team as they leave Zandvoort without any points. Winner, Pierre Gasly. The Frenchman was one of the stars of the race. There's not too much to say as he was pretty lonely throughout, but he executed his strategy to perfection. He also made a brilliant move around the outside of Fernando Alonso at turn 1, which was arguably the overtake of the Grand Prix. Even though Leclerc started closing in towards the end, he consistently put in very strong laps and came home in P4 to move ahead of Daniel Ricciardo in the championship. Winner, Fernando Alonso. Starting 9th on the grid, the wily old fox produced another tremendous first lap. He collided with his teammate at turn 2 and then cleanly switched to the outside line for turn 3 to move ahead of Esteban. He also got past Giovinazzi just a few corners later. Degradation from that point onwards was tough to manage for a lot of drivers, but Fernando proved to be one of the best at making the tyres last. After pitting on lap 33 for medium tyres, the Spaniard made inroads on his fellow countryman Carlos Sainz, and on the final lap, he flew past the Ferrari on the main straight to secure a fantastic P6 finish. It's great to see Fernando driving as well as he is right now. As long as Alpine continue improving as the season progresses, Alonso will keep delivering superb performances like today. Losers, McLaren. Both Lando and Daniel struggled to extract performance from the car throughout the weekend. On Saturday, Lando was eliminated in Q2 for the first time this season, albeit he might have made it through had it not been for the red flag. But the first run wasn't great, and cost him a chance of bagging big points on Sunday. Ricciardo was happy with his runs in Q1 and Q2, but said his worst run came in Q3 when it mattered most. This meant that the pair started 10th and 13th for the race, which wasn't ideal given how difficult it was to overtake. At the start, the Aussie had issues getting into first gear, but thankfully got it sorted before the lights went out. He made up one place on Giovinazzi, but after that, didn't make any gains on the drivers ahead of him. His teammates, on the other hand, went for a different strategy. He started on the mediums and went long into the race, pitting on lap 42. Ricciardo was then asked to make way for Norris and hold up Sergio Perez. But the Red Bull was simply too fast for the McLarens to keep at bay, and they came home in P10 and P11. This meant they lost third place in the Constructors to Ferrari, but it's not the end of the world. They'll likely come back a lot stronger in Monza and give their rivals a much closer contest. Winners, Mercedes. The main reason I'm including Mercedes as winners this weekend is because they increased their lead over Red Bull in the Constructors. As for their car performance, however, it seems as though Red Bull have moved back ahead of them with the upgrade boards in Belgium. Hamilton did extremely well to put his car in P2, having missed so much of the second practice session. He also went into the race without any race simulation laps under his belt, which meant his knowledge of the tyres was very limited. Despite this, however, he kept Max on his toes by closing in at points during the Grand Prix, but ultimately, the Red Bull was too quick. Valtteri's race was made difficult by the fact that he was made to extend the first stint and hold up Verstappen, but that didn't last very long at all. Then there was the moment when he came in for soft tyres, but the team told him not to set the fastest lap. But my man Valtteri said, that, I'ma do it anyway, forcing Lewis to come in and take it back from him. And I mean, can you really blame him for it? It's basically confirmed at this point that he'll be leaving Mercedes and moving to Alfa Romeo for 2022, so he doesn't really have a reason to do what they say anymore. Next time out in Monza will be crucial for Mercedes and particularly Hamilton to prevent Verstappen and Red Bull taking 3 wins in a row. Winners, the Dutch fans. The Dutch fans made the weekend. It was basically one massive party from the moment the lights went green in FP1 to Verstappen's post-race celebrations on the grid. The atmosphere was just electric, and I, for sure, would love to attend next year's Grand Prix. If any of you watching this video were at the race, let me know how your experience was in the comment section below. But seeing how excited everybody was to be there and witness Verstappen put on a show was spectacular. It was also great to see the fans embrace Lewis, and Lewis embraced the fans in return. To see the respect be there in the end was the perfect ending to a thrilling event. Kudos to the Orange Army and the organisers who made the spectacle as great as it was. I hope you all enjoyed. Please like this video if you did, and subscribe to the channel with bell notifications to keep up to date with the latest post-race content in the future. We're aiming to reach 50k subs by the end of the year, so any supports would be greatly appreciated. And as always, I'll see you in the next one.